So these lights are not doing what they said they would do. Hold on. Ndewono, udonando, udonando. We are live. We are live. We are live. Much better. Okay. All right, let us begin. So again, ask me anything. Thank you guys for being here. We've already got somebody in the comments. Okay, hi, thanks for the live, Adoma. Thank you. You're welcome. Well, thank you for being here. Yes, thank you. What would your thought? Okay, hold on. So before we start the questions, we are going to wait till we get 10 people in the live. That is just the way we do it here. So before we begin to ask me anything, we're going to get 10 people in the live. For those who don't know, my name is Derek O'Farrell with the Medicine Show. I teach Igbo spirituality. This is my daughter, who I'm trying to keep off the camera by any means, and she's not allowing it to happen, but we'll see. Indigo, Ndewo, good seeing you, good seeing you. Once we get 10 people in here, we'll go ahead and begin, okay? I don't know if you guys can see my eyes, but I'm very tired. I'm a little short fused today. I'm a little short. I got a whole bunch of fancy set equipment, and like none of it's working. Okay, none of it's working. And for those who know me well, I don't like buying technology because there's something about it not working that really frustrates me. But yeah, we're here. If you guys can see everything behind you, it's actually. Anyways, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm trying to have this look like. I'm trying to have this shit look better than. No. Mama, chill out. Look better. No. CNN. Put your hands out. Hola, hola. Put your hands out. Are you gonna behave? Yeah. Okay, let's behave. Okay, I'm gonna keep my hands here. Ndewo. Aha, we're here. He said we've hit 10 people. We've hit 10 people. We've hit 10 people. Who is all in the house? Yay! Yay. Okay, let us begin. Let us begin. Okay. Okike kerowa. Alaboala. Ala nemado na nemo. Ala nenyendo nenyen koma de nowa. Ala isiri bia, ala isi elo. Umoge abiala. Owobiọma ka anyị ji na-ekele gị. Owobiọma ka anyị ji na-ekele Chineke bi n'eluigwe. Chukwu okike abịa nke na-enye ndụ. Nke kere ụwa. Owobiọma ka anyị ji na-ekele. Owobiọma ka anyị ji na-ekele ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ, ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Ajikwere obiọma na-ekelekwe mmụọ na-esoro anyị na mmụọ anyị ga-afụ ebe anyị na-aga. Ọ bụ ike ka anyị ji aga, ọ bụ udo ka anyị ji aga, ọ bụ obiọma ka anyị ji aga, ọ bụ aka mmụọ ka anyị ji aga, ọ bụ aka mmadụ ka anyị ji aga. Anyị ga-aga n'ike, anyị ga-aga n'udo, anyị ga-aga n'akụ na ụba. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị na eke na orie na afọ na nkwọ ise. Yes. All right, let us go ahead and begin. Okay. All right. So the first question was, what would your thoughts on close friends in dreams who betray you? And you, for example, never had a thought of it until the dream. Would you take the dream literal? Dreams can be precautionary, but I wouldn't like start acting on it. Like I wouldn't just like I've had. I remember when I was like 8 years old, I had a dream that my younger brother, Screwface, was either he was Bluto and I was Popeye, or I was Popeye and he was Bluto. I remember he threw a barrel at my head and I actually felt it hurt. And I woke up and I slapped him. And, and I had no right doing that to him. And so yeah, take it as like your spider senses are on. Be vigilant, be aware, but don't act on it. Don't start acting like this person is now a traitor just because you had a dream. Because sometimes dreams are not exactly what they look like. Sometimes dreams are not exactly. Hola, why?
She get up.
She get up. She wants to get up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't you help me from here? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
I'm hungry.
So dreams are not always exactly what they look like. You're hungry? Okay.
I got something to eat.
You want to get something to eat?
Yeah.
You guys want to hold for a minute while me and Ola go get something to eat? Okay, this is so ratchet. All right, hold on 1 minute, guys. Hold on, come on, let's go eat.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Bye.
Bye. Be right back, everybody. I love you guys. Keep each other entertained. Hold on, let me play some music while I'm gone. My brother just dropped a diss track on DJ Academic, so we're gonna listen to that while I'm gone. Hey, I think hold on. It's okay. We're going.
We go back.
We're gonna listen to my brother's song while I'm off.
I mean, you can't depend on everyone, but I guess I can always depend on this drink. I can always depend. You never let me wrong. After everything, I need to take a shot.
Yesterday somebody whacked out my mural. The posse getting Oscars acting like they thorough. You wanna know how you not a prize of your girl? You gotta argue that you a prize with your girl.
All right, we are back. Sorry about that, guys. Oh man. Listen, part of my exhaustion is I spent a lot of energy on professionalizing everything. And anyways, back to whatever we were doing. All right. Can you teach about music and magic? Yes. So according to our ancestors, let me breathe a little bit. Hold on. According to our ancestors, Chukwu Okike Habiama is a dancing god. Is the term that they use. Is a dancing god. It is a god that creates by way of dance in the universe that operates by way of dance. Now we can see dance as vibration. We can see dance as movement. We can see dance as existence. But Chukwu is a dancing god. All of Chukwu's movements are done in dance and song, right? And if you understand that all of Chukwu's movements are done in dance, you'll understand that song, the communication between song and dance, applies as well, as far as the communication with the creator and the individual, as far as the communication between the individual and more spirit, right? There's a lot I can say as far as dance goes and magic, or music goes and magic, but they go one in one. More spirits, because Chukwu is a dancing god, more is a dancing entity, spirit is a dancing entity, right? And there's just that's like I can do an entire channel on just music and spirituality and all that stuff. I could just do an entire channel on just music itself. So if you have more specific questions as far as music goes, that would be great. But music is a means of communicating with or connecting with spirit more. Music is a means of communicating and connecting with creation. Okay. Come on. Ndewo. All right. She said no. That's our catchphrase. What is the ilu that goes when you are meant to do something, you shine bright? I know I butchered it, but I hope, I might not know the one you're referring to. So if you got something that'll help you remember it a little bit better, that would be great. But I don't think I remember the one you're referring to. My voice is gone too. Sacred trees and many stories are references to medicine, such as plants that heal, absolutely, and give wisdom. Are there any trees in Igbo like this? Oh yeah. Most of, as far as Igbo spirituality goes, it's very tree centric, right? One thing, so we have our traditional medicine class, and one of the things that, by now I'm sure all the students can see is the role that trees play in absolutely everything. Our ancestors used trees as their shrines. Our ancestors used trees as their Irish. I'm live on.
I really, really need your help.
Okay, what do you need, bud?
You know where Lana's check is?
Check the bedroom or downstairs.
Okay.
So, what was I gonna say? There goes my camera. Oh wow! All right, so jeez. So, anyways, I swear if that camera's broken, I'm gonna give you. I don't know. Anyways. All right, so trees. Yeah, so trees were used as shrines, and so there's a lot of trees that I guess the term sacred you that you'd consider sacred in our culture. Ngu is one. Iroko is another one. Anunebe is another one. Um, Ogrishi is one. Um, Awful. I call it awful. Sisi awful, whichever the tree that the awful comes from, is one. All of every tree in the world has its properties, and based on its properties, you'll understand how our ancestors understood the tree and connected to it and used it to do their work and so forth, right? Um, yeah, and all the ones I listed have a medicinal property. Some of them have like a socio-medicinal property, right? A socio-medicinal property. So, for example, in a community where an Iroko is, there is a spiritual connection it gives specifically to young women, right? Community that has an Iroko tree, the young women, the unmarried young women there are protected by the presence of that tree, okay? Just things like that. There's a whole bunch of them, so. Anunebe is like it's like forms a force field. It repels. So with the Anunebe, you'll notice that no animal, no bug, or anything will ever perch on an Anunebe tree. So if you have one in your vicinity or area, it kind of creates a force field around whatever it's around, and so it's used as a protective tree. So that's what I mean by a socio-spiritual function. So there's the aspect of these trees that are personal medicine, a medicine that you can take for the self, or you can give to somebody. And then there's also the social element, the fact that we understand that the presence of a tree or the presence of a certain tree can calibrate the spirit of the area and what's going on spiritually. Fairly recently, the Western world has figured out that neighborhoods that have a lot of trees, people behave certain ways based on what trees are in the neighborhood, right? And if you understand that more, the link between moi and behavior, spirit and behavior, you'll know that this is something our ancestors have been saying. So they've learned that communities that have a lot of trees, people drive slower, people are more patient with each other. They don't pollute or litter as much. But if they look further into it, they'll find a lot more. And some of the things I shared would be something you find. Specific trees have specific spiritual properties. And oftentimes, having that tree in the vicinity can calibrate the auraic presence of an area, right? In one direction or another based on what you're trying to do. Sometimes keeping the wood of that tree or the bark of that tree around or the roots of that tree around also gives you that capacity or a sliver of that capacity that the tree does. Sacred trees and so many. Okay, yeah, we got that. Do plant spirits reach out to people? Absolutely, 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 100%. In fact, Scotty, if you the Adibia reaches a point where they're able to communicate directly with the spirit of the plants, and then that plant spirit will allow them to, you know, gain knowledge or wisdom or instruction, whatever need be from that plant, right? Sometimes just a friendly banter, maybe. There's a famous story of the Atilog dance. The Atilog dance is like everybody's dancing this, and all of a sudden they form this big human pyramid, right? And the story of the Atilog dance was in the community of, I think, Umunze. In the community of Umunze, there was a particular man who climbed to the top of an Atilogun tree, and he was inspired by Mo to just meditate on the top of that tree. And he stayed there for days and days and days and days, and then suddenly the tree began to speak to him. And after spending time speaking to the tree, he came down, and what the tree taught him was the Atilago dance. The tree taught him that, hey, you really want to make this crowd go crazy, right? You guys gotta form this kind of human pyramid structure thing and that kind of thing. And so that was the origin of the Atilago dance. And this was in very recent history. This was like in the probably in the 30s or 20s. I think Tilago dance is like part of UNESCO World Heritage or whatever, but the origin of it was direct communication with the plants. Most of the reason people like ancient people know what plants heal is because the plant told them, right? The plant was able to let them know. Oh, never mind. The father is so Igbo, but the daughter is speaking perfect English. As that duty calls. I guess when you have a sudden dream of a close friend who betrays you, then you suddenly abandon the relationship. Suddenly, the dream is telling you the truth. Okay, or yeah. Sometimes dreams are incredible. Dreams will let you know what's on the way. Dreams will let you know things you didn't see. There's just a strange way that's like, even for example, when my wife got pregnant with our two kids, the way different people in our family started having dreams, she started having dreams, and all of a sudden here comes the children, so yeah, just don't take your dreams lightly. Of course, don't like act on like, you can't have a dream about somebody betraying you and then like wake up and start beating their ass, right? I don't hear nothing like that, which I assume you're not taking it to that level. I don't mind. Yeah. Hope everyone's having a good night. Yes, I'm having a good night. Is nice to be connected with my people. So this is helping. My week has been chaotic. Has been very chaotic. And then this particular day, there was some ups and downs, but for the most part, it was very productive and I had a good time. Um, and so forth. I'm trying to make a set with like a background and all that stuff. So it's, that kind of thing. But life keeps happening. But we'll get there. We'll get there. As I'm hitting these setbacks, I'm learning things. And then I'm kind of grateful that I didn't like do it when like it's hard to explain, but it's all a part of the process. But my nerves are still my nerves. So short fuse today. I watched your video on Amadioha, but I want to know how one can pray to Amadioha. Yeah, absolutely. So when you're the way you pray to Amadioha is by performing Iwaoji, breaking of the kola nut, right? You break the kola nut. And it's as simple as just addressing, greeting Amadioha, saying Amadioha's name. Um, you can use honorifics, which I'll share a few in a minute. You can use honorifics, but saying Amadioha's name, and then from there saying what you want to say. Understand this: the way our ancestors see prayer is a fusion between what like maybe you might be used to with like a Christian and conversation, right? So you guys are having a dialogue, one-to-one dialogue. You're saying whatever you need to say and so forth. Um, and it's as simple as you're doing when you break on G, you just include Amadioha's name. You can use one of Amadioha's honorifics, Ewe Eligwe, the gunner of heaven, right? The gun of heaven. Igwe, sky, right? Eze Eligwe, the sky, the king of providence. Um, Ikechukwu is another one, right? The power of God, God's power. All those different things. I'm trying to think of a few more. I shared a few of them, a few titles on the in the video. But when you're addressing Abara, it helps to add their honorifics and their titles and things like that, especially the female ones, right? Especially the female ones. But with Amadioha, you break Oji and then you just call the name and begin your address, right? Amadioha does not listen to people with dirty hands. In fact, if you have dirty hands, I would refrain from calling Amadioha. What do dirty hands mean? You have committed aro, or you're in the process of you're like in the process of trying to commit aro or something like that, right? So what's aro? Incest, destroying what is sacred. I didn't know my voice was so gone. Destroying what's sacred. Incest, destroying what's sacred. What's another one? Murder, right? And this includes abortion. I don't know if you can say that word on TikTok. I don't know if you can say that word on YouTube. What's another one? What's another one? What's another one? Incest also includes like sleeping with your spouses or your siblings' spouses. That counts as incest. Um, for the most part, that's generally it as far as Aro goes, right? Beating pregnant women. Um, as far as our rule goes. But then some lands will have extra little things and that others don't. But either way, keep those your hands clean of those things. If you have, find a way to atone, give a sacrifice. People sacrifice rams to Amadioha. If you're interested in doing that, we have the DBA can do it for you because it's illegal in America for the most part. Or Chukubuike, you might be at home. You can just sacrifice ram at home. Uh, what about Igbo mythology? Monsters like, so a lot of those masquerades you see at home, would be the monsters and things like that, right? A lot of the ones you see at home would play that role of the monsters and that thing like that. Now, the dragon, let's talk about the dragon. There is something very esoterically deep about the concept of the dragon, right? About the concept of the dragon. Every single culture has a dragon form, some type of dragon, right? And the dragon has two meanings, or let me say this: the dragon represents Akko, which is what this is actually in the next video I'm making. So the next video I release, I talk about this very in depth, very, very, very in depth. But the dragon is the feminine wisdom, Akko, rising, that kind of thing. That's the dragon, right? The dragon that like emerges and rises to the sky like the phoenix, and not the phoenix is a bird, and that kind of thing. In Igbo culture, it is usually represented as a hornbill. The hornbill bird plays the same role, right? But the serpents, that flying serpent, is Akonuche, or specifically Ako. Right. So there's a lot. I can go on and on about dragons, but yeah, we got that too. But it's usually represented with the hornbill. The hornbill. It plays the same role. What else? What else? What else? But yeah, a lot of those masquerades you see would be would are some of the monsters that people would encounter and things like that. In some kind of mythology and that kind of thing. That would be it. Then of course there's Owamiri and all of its characters and things that exist in there. Mami Wata, as they refer to it. Things like that. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, but I would start with the masquerades because there's like hundreds of masquerades, and some of them are like mythological monsters. Some of them are spirits, some of them are ancestors. Some of them are what you would call demons, right? Somebody sent me a message and was like, "Hey, this guy is saying that masquerades are demons." I was like, "Yeah, some of them are. Some of them are." That kind of thing. So, Inodinati, hey, I love you guys' questions today, by the way. Inodinati, how does one know when an altar is activated? You'll feel it. You'll feel it. And you will feel its effects, right? So you can ask a question, you ask a question, you receive an answer. That's a sign, but you'll feel it. You'll feel it. If you don't feel it, then don't go there and start pretending something's going on, right? There's no obligation of faith as far as Odinani goes. If you don't feel it, then it's not real. You'll feel it when it's activated. I felt mine when I always tell this story about how I had an altar inside. And again, I'm a very skeptical person. So I had an altar that was inside, and I just felt like I was talking to a bunch of rocks. And then I took it outside and I just felt this. I felt it, right? So you'll feel it. Keep tweaking it and turning it until you feel it, right? Keep making changes and things like that. If something represents your Ikenga, it has to feel like Ikenga. If something represents ancestor number one, it has to feel like ancestor number one. If the other one, ancestor, it has to feel like ancestor number two. If there's a thing in your altar that represents you, it has to feel like it. If it represents a certain Abara, Nemiri, Amadioha, Ekwensu, trying to think of some other ones, Agun, Arobinagun, all these different ones, it has to feel like them. If it feels like them, then you got it, right? Then you got it. If it doesn't feel like it, keep making changes till you get there, right? But there's no obligation of belief. You don't have to like, it doesn't feel like it. You're not even sure, maybe not, but you just go there and pretend. Don't pretend about anything, right? There's an ilu, our people say that an Irish that fails to do what an Irish is supposed to do, we use it as firewood. So that's the psychology of the whole thing, Buddha. Shout outs from Jamaica. Yeah. Hey, so we have, unless this is the same person, so we had a student, I won't say your name, just so I'm not gonna get people in your business. We had a student in Kedu, and she's a student level one Kedu Asusu Igbo one level one. Kedu is the our Igbo language class. So if you want to learn Igbo, you can sign up at www.kedu.me. But she's a student at Kedu, and she's taking a language class, and she had like a couple of words that you guys use in patois, and she wanted to know if they were Igbo, and we were able to find a few. So fe was one of them. Like the way she described it was like you use fe like you know how Americans say if you're feeling froggy, then jump, right? That kind of thing. And so what she did, or what we were talking about was like you draw a line in the sand, you tell somebody to fe. And I was like, oh, that's funny because in Igbo, fe means fly, like jump. Like that was one. There was like she just kept finding them and finding them. Bufu. Bufu was a previous student, but Bufu was like somebody who's like super big, like oversized individual. And Bufu in Igbo is the same thing, that you've gotten so big that it's ridiculous. You've lost the script, right? But I was a previous student. But yeah, no, so it's always cool to connect with people from Jamaica, because the connections are so vivid. What trees in Igbo stories are medicinal, such as Ne Chuku in the cooking pot story? Ah, that's a good. What trees are medicinal? Well, hold on. Let me go to my handy dandy medicinal tree book. Hold on. This will probably take me a little bit to find. I'm going to give it 3 seconds. If I don't land on the page, then we're not getting an answer for this one. But I would highly recommend getting Healing Insanity, a study of Igbo medicine. What does that say? In contemporary Nigeria. This is phenomenal, right? I base much of the traditional medicine class I can do on this book, as well as the input from the Dibia who teaches the class. So, okay, what I say, 3 seconds? Okay, so if I don't find it, wait. Nope. 3. Okay. I didn't find the page that has the list of like trees that are medicinal. I would say every tree is medicinal, right? Every tree has, it's not about which trees are medicinal, it's about what medicine is in this tree, right? It's not about what tree is medicinal, it's about what medicine is in this tree. But ogrishi is one that gets used very often for a lot of medicines. The liquid from it is used in the initiation process for a lot of DBAs. There's I can't remember the name of it, but it's this particular plant that if somebody's having a manic episode, you just pour it on them and they just immediately, it just stops, right? I can't remember the name of it though. I shared it. I have a video called Ogwu explained, OGWU, and I think I shared the name of that plant towards the fourth quarter of the video, like towards the end, right? Yeah, there's a lot of plants are medicinal, a lot of trees are medicinal. So the question is, what's the medicine inside this tree? What's the medicine inside this plant? Rather than which ones are medicinal, right? They all are, right? The thing is, I think Western medicine makes us think medicine is a rare thing. I think Western medicine makes us think that medicine is a rare thing, that medicine is the special thing you find in nature, rather than medicine being nature itself, right? So if we look at the term Ogwu, Ogwu in Igbo, Ogwu is one of the names of Arobinagu. Arobinagu is the spirit of just plants, of nature in general. So all of it is Ogwu, right? So it's about what medicine is in this plant. It's not necessarily like which plants have medicine, right? There are some, because of their potency and so forth, that get used obviously more than others, right? That kind of thing. But yeah, I get this book, Healing Insanity. They need to pay me for a promo at this point. I tried to get an affiliate link, and some sassy Indian was working for the publisher. And we got into it. It's being rude. Well, yeah, not into it, but yeah. Hopefully it's where it can teach me how to dance in general, African Sheen style. Oh my lecha, you will be saved. You will be saved in the name of your ancestors. Peace and ma'at, bye-bye. Peace, one there, peace, one there. Who do. Can you talk about the significance of three? You guys are, it's the synchronicity. I can't say the word synchronicity. The synchronicity of this live is very interesting to me because I got so, okay, let me tell you guys something. So anywhere you look as far as Odinani goes, pay attention to what I'm saying. Anywhere you look as far as Odinani goes, right? When it comes to numerology, most people stop at 8. Most people stop at 8, right? And then I crack the code. I cracked the code. I cracked the code. I cracked the code for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. I now know what they mean in Igbo numerology. It was funny enough, it was one of my patrons, one of the members of the village that reached out and was like, hey, I think that there's more layers of more. I think it goes above 8. And I can't remember what I was saying. I was like, oh, really? Like, what do you think? And, we're sharing her ideas. And they made sense. I was like, all of this makes perfect sense, right? And then I'm working on this next video. So the next video I'm doing, I'm not going to say what it is. It's not numerology, but that's the video after. I'll go ahead and tell you guys that one's the video after because I was like, bing, and I was like, oh no. So I started doing that one midway. So I'm doing 2 videos at one time right now. Probably why I sound like this and that kind of thing, right? But I cracked the code. With a lot of help from her and what she shared. So shout out to her. She knows who she is. But yeah, the code has been cracked. Anyways, the number 3, Dinani. The number 3 is the Ikenga number, right? The number of kinetic, the kinetic action. One is like intention, 2 is existence, 3 is the kinetic, right? So 2 things exist, they create a third, a third happens, right? Think of a positive, negative spark, which creates movement, motion, energy, and so forth. 3 is the kinetic number. 3 is also the kinetic number because 4 is completion, and 3 moves towards 4. 3 moves towards completion. So the number 3 is movement. Therefore, the number 3 is life. The number 3 is the number of power, the number of let's say, so your chi brings you into the world for a purpose. Your 3 is what you hold in your hand in order to do that thing, the power you have in order to do that thing, right? The energy you have in order to do that thing. On a universal level, it is motion, it's kinetic, right? It's just the kinetic in general, right? Number 3 is the number of Amadioha and Allah, right? It is the number of the Ikenga. It is the number and the Omomo, Ikenga and Omomo, right? Again, those are the 2 powers, the masculine power, the feminine power. Number 3 is the kinetic. It is kinetic because it is incomplete, right? All the odd numbers are incomplete, and so they move towards completion. So 1, for example, is incomplete. It is intention, and then 2 is being, right? Being. So intention moves towards being. All intentions force their way into existence, move their way into existence, or will their way into existence, and so forth. So that's why you have to be careful what you think, what your thoughts look like. So that's number 3. Great question. And I'm glad you asked it because I cracked the damn code. I cracked the damn code. I'll be sharing it in the next few videos as far as what the code was, but there's a thing I understand about Igbo numerology now that takes me up to the number 16. A big part of it too was I've been studying Afa since the summer. I've been studying divination since the summer, the Afa system and the Afa language, and it's there. It's all right there. So that's really where I saw it, that kind of thing. I would love to do a video on the pyramid. Yeah. Pyramid video will be coming soon. But I would also recommend you watch my Omumu, OMUMU. That is OMUMU, Omumu video, Omumu explained, because I go into the pyramid there. I talk about what the pyramid is, that kind of thing. And do a video on Oseara. Hey. that may or may not be on the way. So again, it's like the you guys are just saying the things that are like on the top shelf of my mind right now. Like it's just all the things you guys are asking are in sync. So I'm glad I did this live. What is the symbolism for Chuku? Only listen to the first, though not the second. Yes. What is the symbolism for Chuku? Oh, yes. Good. Good question. Yeah. So there's a saying for those who don't know that Chuku only listens to the first thing you say, right? There's an Ilu that says Chuku only hears the first thing you say, not the second. Chuku only hears the first thing you say and has no regard for the second, right? A lot can be said about that. But remember earlier in the numerology, I said that one is intention. So Chuku exists in the space of intention, right? Of the unmanifest, and so forth. And I mean, honestly, that's really what it is. It's just Chuku operates with the principle of one, Utsu, right? The one. So Chuku speaks in the first place, in the one place, and that kind of thing. What else? I'm trying to think of another way to explain the idea that Chuku only listens to the first thing a person says. There's also a thing as far as the way Igbo see words is that the first thing you say is the real thing you said, right? And the first thing you say is kind of the real thing you said. And so a good part of developing within the culture is learning how to control your mouth, right? Learning how to control your mouth. They said that there's an Ilu that says your mouth is caged by teeth for a reason, right? Your mouth is caged by teeth for a reason, or your tongue is caged by teeth for a reason, right? So learning how to control your mouth. I always say often, if you go to your altar, you don't say what you don't mean. If you're communicating with your ancestors, if you're praying, if you're manifested, you don't say what you don't mean. You don't say what you don't mean. And then think about the idea of your chi. Think about the idea of your chi. You will you will ask your chi for an answer. Your chi will give you that answer, and then all this other shit will come. Doubt, question. What if it doesn't work? Okay, but I thought that, but I actually want to do this. So the first one, right? I always tell people that your chi is your first voice. Your chuku hears the first thing you say, and then your chi says the first thing, right? The chi is your original principle, your first voice, right? Your original operator, your original speaker, that kind of thing. That first voice. If you say, "Oh, do I need to go finish this degree?" And they, yes, but I got bills and kids and all that other shit. That's not true. That's not your chi. Your chi was the first one. That's why I tell people to, how do I hear my chi? Your chi is the easiest thing in the world for you to hear. It is your original principle, your original truth, right? And it is the first voice that activates when something happens. It is the first voice that is the first thing you hear, and so forth, right? But just sometimes life will make you lose faith in that first voice, right? Ultimately, maybe not trusting yourself, that kind of thing. So, let's see here. What is the symbolism? Okay, where do you got that? Is there a custom in Odinani where a person cannot turn their back to an altar as they are leaving it? Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. No, I don't know. I don't think so. No. I do know that approaching it with your back, how do I put it this way? Approaching spiritually enhanced things with your back negates whatever's going on with it, right? Negates whatever's going on with it. If you approach it with your back, it negates whatever's going on with it, right? It's also a form of like submission, I think. There's a story at my great great grandmother was a very powerful woman, and she was so powerful and so strong medicinally, let's put it that way, that this certain masquerade called Okurosha, the stories that Okurosha enters our compound backwards because of her, till this day, right? So that kind of thing. Aru Aru, A-R-U is abomination. He said Aru like a no, Aru, A-R-U like abomination. Yes. Oh, can you elaborate on the women ruling the market and men ruling the business? Yeah. So the way society is organized in Igbo land is in large part around two things: the family and the market, right? The family and the market. And every single community has its own market. Every single community has its own. It's so interesting you're asking this question, by the way. So every single community has its own market, right? And each market is a part of a system of four markets, right? So one market will be called Eke, the other one will be called Urie, the other one will be called Afo, the other one will be called Nkwo, okay? And so the women that sell at each market, right? So my family, my area, we sell at the Nkwo. We're Nkwo market people. So all the women in my family that's all the women in my family sell at the Nkwo market. Okay. So, and then remember those 4 days are the 4 days of the Igbo calendar. Eke, Uri, Afo, Nkwo. That's why they're called market days. So on Eke day, only the Eke market is allowed to be open. Only the Eke market is allowed to be open. And everybody comes to the Eke market to buy. On Uri day, only Uri market, everybody goes to Uri, and then it rotates. It just rotates perpetually, right? And so in these markets, only women sell in these markets. It's only women that sell in these markets. These women form a union. Let's call it a government, really. It's a government. They form a government, a union too, union slash government. So they have a union government in the market, right? They pick the leader, and they all pay dues into like a collective pot, and they do what's called isusu. So everybody pays into the pot, and then one person will get all that money for one. And then the next time the rotation happens, one person gets all the money, one person gets all the money, that kind of thing. So anything pertaining to the market, women make the rules about, women make the laws about, that kind of thing. If women say there's no market today, there's no market today. The government union, then if they say there's no market today, there's no market today. If they say from now on nobody can sell I don't know, snails here, nobody's selling those snails, that kind of thing. So they govern anything pertaining to market, right? Now, it doesn't mean that men don't participate in economic activity, right? In fact, if you understand Igbo culture, you'll know that that's just what it is. that's what we do. We're business people, right? Very commercial culture, right? And so men will do business outside of that market system, right? So like long distance trading, um, crafting, like traditional, like smithing, things like that. Whole any business you can think of except the markets, right? Men don't sell in the market, right? Now, not every market in Igbo land is an Eke Ori Afo Nkwo market. Some of them are just like there's a junction and everybody comes here for one reason or another. There's always traffic jams. All of a sudden it became a market, or the government built a market here and that kind of thing. There's like modern markets and stuff, but the traditional sacred markets that are tied to the Irish and things like that, those are operated by women. They're the ones that set the standards for them. So traditionally, most communities would have kind of like two main leaders. It would be the leader of the market, which would be the Omo in a lot of communities, or the Odu, right? She's a woman. And then the leader of the men's government, the Aha, or the Alba in some places. And the leader of the Alba is male. So that kind of thing. So, for example, now, if the leader of the Alba is going to the market, he would enter backwards, though he typically will send somebody to go to the market for him, but he'll enter backwards, right? And then if the leader of the women's is entering the Aha, she'll enter backwards and that kind of thing. So it's cool you guys asked that. So Odema. What what laws of Allah are universal Is it eye for an eye, blood for blood, or is there more? Well, the ones I listed are universal. So, like incest, desecrating what's sacred, murder. Those are the universal ones. In, like, for example, in my own land, in my in my town, it's aru to, if your wife is cheating on you and you know it and you're cool with it, it's considered aru. So it's aru to be a cock and and the reason it starts differing after those core ones, the reason it starts differing after those core ones is because a people can go to Allah and say, these are the laws we want to make sacred, right? And then it becomes a sacred law. So there's laws among people, right, which are still followed. They are what they are. Then there are sacred laws, and some laws are so important to a people, they'll take it to Allah and say, this is going to be one of our laws going forward. Our descendants shouldn't do this, blah, 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 blah. Right. So every land has the universal murder, incest, murder, incest, and then desecrating sacred things, whatever is considered sacred in that place. And then some places can add their own, just because, okay, in this land we don't like Oka. Is it Oka? Is it Oka? I think Oka, you can't kill monkeys, but they did that wasn't because of the land. It was because they themselves said that during the like wartime, the monkey, anybody that tried to attack them, the monkeys would rise to the top of the trees and start shouting. So there was this natural alarm system. And as an honor, they went to Allah and they said that these monkeys will be protected so long as they're on this land, and so forth. In my own land, Aru, you can't kill a python, but that counts as sacred. You know what I mean? That's sacred, that kind of thing. Good. Can we talk about how to offer cola to spirit or ancestor? Cool. I break it sometimes after my morning veneration and just leave it on the ground. Offer it to my chi on your water spirit. Oh, yeah, it sounds like you're doing it. Oh, Mali Chai. It sounds like you're doing what you're supposed to do. Make sure to take some too, right? Take a little bit, give them a little bit. Don't worry, like people worry about, like, oh, how long do I keep it there, da, 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 da. The gesture is what matters. The gesture is what matters. If you need to clean it up, when you sweep away from, don't sweep towards the altar. Sweep like imagine your altar like the sun. Sweep like the rays of the sun. Sweep like the rays of the sun. But everything you're saying you do, you're doing it just fine. You take the cola to your ancestors, you call them by their name, your forces, like you had said, your Oniwa ancestors, water spirits. You call them. Okay, when you're breaking Oji, you call everybody who's in attendance, right? And so you will know what relevant forces, spirits, ancestors, people to call, right? After calling them, Aji Abiala, the Aji has come, and then you'll let them know what you're dedicating this Aji to, right? So some people say this Aji is an Aji of peace. Some will say this Aji is the Aji of wealth. This Aji is the Aji of a good journey. This Aji is the strength I need I don't know, get this job, right? That kind of thing. And then you'll say it'll be this way on Eke Orie Afo Nkwade, and then you'll break it, you'll share it, and that kind of thing, and so forth. So yeah, that's really it. But it sounds like what you're doing is correct. I have a guide on Patreon. It's like a document in the full. I wrote it myself, and it goes like, it's like all the steps: the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then it has like what you should say, and it has it in Igbo because Yaji only speaks Igbo. The Kolana only speaks Igbo, right? So you has everything, like, do you want to say this? This is how you say it in Igbo. Do you want to say this? This is how you say it in Igbo. So a lot of people have used that thing that I wrote on Patreon, patreon.com/medicine shell, for those who don't know, as a guide. So if you're on Patreon and you're interested in that document, message me, I'll send it to you, and so forth. And then those who are in the traditional medicine class, I've actually written the textbook, and it's in the textbook with like a lot more stuff. So like the advanced levels are in the textbook for the Oghu class. So I don't know. Do you have an equivalent to chakras as Igbo mythology? Keruka ime. Adamma one keduke neme. Adamma, cool. Do we have any equivalent to chakras? I was like, one would think that the 7 layers of more eight, actually, it's more than that, by the way. One would think that the 8 layers of more would be chakras, but the person who taught me that said that every single chakra is in your 3rd layer. Every single chakra is in your 3rd layer of more. Okay. So to my knowledge, I don't know anything that equates chakras, but we do have like for example, like the Kundalini thing, the Kundalini rising, that is Akko. That is Akko. It's like a very high, strong level of Akko, but it's Akko, which is sentience from the earth into your microcosm of Ubichuku. I'll be talking about all of this in the next video, by the way. The next video is going to be a good one. I'll be talking about all of this in the next video. Uda. I want to know how I can use music in my personal rituals. Wow, to empower my spirit, music are. There are already rituals I can do for empowerment. Okay, that's just such a cool question. Ross family, I'm assuming you're a musician or you just love music, right? So here's one way you can do it. When you go to your altar, don't speak, sing. Our ancestors didn't speak, they sang, they sung, they sung, right? They didn't speak, they sung. You understand? This speaking thing is new. This is Ugazi behavior. We used to just sing. That's why all the masquerades, when you hear them speak, they'll speak with a certain rhythm. They'll talk to you in a rhythm just like this. They don't ever just say the thing straightforward. They speak in a lot of proverbs and parables, and there's always a rhythm to how they speak, right? One of the things we teach in Kedu is that when you're speaking Igbo, think about like singing. If you sing it, you'll say it better. It'll come out better, right? So sing. Don't even have to sing in Igbo. Sing in English, right? If that's easier for you. Sing at your altar. Don't just go there and talk. One of the things because it's not my nature as a person, but one of the things I do want to emphasize more on is how musical this tradition is, right? So, like, for example, you go home, like 9 out of 10 of the songs that have been appropriated by the church, they started as Odinani songs. That's how they started. You understand? My dad was breaking this down for me a few years ago on like New Year's, right? Those were the songs people used to sing as far as Odinani goes, right? And then they got like hijacked by the church and they made it a church song, right? And so forth. But all of this is done by singing. You go to the river and sing. You go to your altar and sing. You go to nature and sing. You sing your way through nature. You sing to the sun, right? If singing isn't your thing, your instruments and so forth. Playing music for your ancestors, right? Think of your ancestors like when you're greeting their guests. So sometimes you want to entertain your guests with some music. And maybe it's not you making music, but you want to incorporate it, right? Absolutely, that's all a huge part of it, right? That's all a part of it. So one of the things you're gonna see me emphasize a lot more is the musicality of Odinani, right? The musicality of Odinani. How a lot of this, my nature as a person is to speak, right? So I don't want the music, the singing, the musicality, the rhythm of it to be lost to anybody who's learning from me, because that wouldn't be accurate, right? But what we're doing is we sing, right? Um, so you saying you want to incorporate music is interesting because it is way more musical than I present it to be. So go all out with the music. Whatever vision you have, it's your chi that gave you that vision. Remember that first voice I was talking about? Go for it. Do it. All right. So, like for example, now I was saying earlier that somebody said, "How do you know your altar is activated?" Right? And I said that you'll feel it. Sometimes it takes music to feel it, right? Sometimes you need the music. The music is what's going to make you feel it, and so forth. I'm trying to collect some songs, like some songs that people used back in the day and now and so forth. Right, but I think that's one element that gets missed is the music because the church just sucked up all the sucked up all the songs and put Jesus on it, and now nobody knows that they made the song. They think somebody in Amsterdam wrote that song. Them, can you make a video on monsters? Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. You know. So if you want to see me make a video, Daniel, okay. If you want to see me make a video, the best thing to do is to comment on one of the videos. Can you make a video about monsters? Because what I'll do is once I release a video, I'll check all of the recent comments since the last video. And like, yeah, I'll take a long ass time to do it too. I don't care. I'll check all the comments since the last video and I'll see what people are asking for, and then I put it up for vote. So if you can go to any of the videos, the lives don't count. If you can go to any of my videos and be like, "Can you make a video about monsters?" Then 100% you're gonna get it voted on, because I think that's a dope topic. I think it'll be good, especially those of you that want to like write books and make like manga and things like that, movies, animations. That's necessary. Can I use any type of cola nut for the ancestors? All right, so there's a hierarchy when it comes to cola. The best cola, the best like standard cola is 4. If it has 4 lobes. Oh boy. 4 lobes on a cola is good. I shouldn't be yawning on the live. 4 lobes on a cola is good. So if it has 4 lobes, that's a great cola. If it has 3, that's good too. If it has 2, that's okay. It's okay. I'm saying okay, right? If it has no lobes, if it hasn't separated yet, don't use it. Do not use it. Do not use it. Yeah, that means you're ending the cola nut's destiny before its time, right? Which is just a bad omen, because just don't do it. And then if it has 6 lobes, don't break it, right? Don't break it. If you do break it and it happens to break in 6 parts, whatever you're doing, stop doing it and just shelve it for another day. If it breaks in 7 parts, host a party. Host a party. You gotta tell people why you're having the party. Just be like, yeah, I'm having a party. Everybody come over. Cook for everybody. Have a good time. Celebrate if it breaks in 7 parts. But that's rare. That's very rare. But the reason I say the 2 cola is okay is in Igbo culture we call that guoro, and that's like foreign cola. So it's not the ones your ancestors used per se, or it's not optimal, right? But it's okay. It's okay if you use it. It's better than nothing. I've seen someone use a rock. It's cola. If you can use anything as Aji, but if you're not using actual Aji, you would say that I wanted to bring you Aji, but all I have is this stone. I wanted to bring you Aji, but all I have is this coin. I wanted to bring you Aji, but all I have is this whatever. So pardon me. That's what you would say properly, right? Everybody has a good laugh, including your ancestors, and then you continue, right? But 4 is kind of like the ideal, and then 7 host a celebration. If it breaks in 7 parts, you have to have a party. If it breaks into 5 parts, that's a great thing. If it breaks into 6, whatever you're doing, just stop doing it. Shelve it. If it breaks into, yeah, and then like each of those numbers, like, so if you're doing rituals, certain rituals call for certain types, certain number lobe cola, right? Which we talk a lot about in our traditional medicine class. Were you agnostic before reconnecting to a nanny? Yeah, definitely. I'd say so. Like agnostic, atheist, whatever, like somewhere in there, right? For sure. 100%. Yeah. Do we have our own zodiac in Odinani? No. That's like nomad shit. But I mean, if you want to use the 4 market days, that would be something fairly close. The 4 market days, your 4 market days, that kind of thing. But no, we don't use the zodiac. We don't have a zodiac. People will tell you there's one, but there isn't. There's not. People just like to spruce things up. Give me a minute, guys. Tell my yawn, my nose runs. How do you feel about the United States healthcare incident? All right, we're cooking. How do you feel about the United States healthcare incident? Well, yeah, it's very incidental, right? Yeah, I mean, let's see, man. This shit. It's so strange what types of brutality first and foremost. Let me start by saying Hey man, what did Cameron say? People get shot every day, B. You know what I mean? People get shot every day, B. I don't know why this one gets to be such a big deal, right? But these healthcare companies, like what they're doing is brutal. Like it's really brutal, and it's like the human mind is amazing because the inconsistencies we accept are insane, right? Like, what do you mean the healthcare system is like a casino and you just gotta, even though you've been paying for it, you gotta just pull the thing and hey, maybe you get approved, maybe you don't. Meanwhile, they don't say I don't approve it. Here's your money back, right? They're still gonna keep your money and say I don't approve. So yeah, you keep doing shit like that, somebody's gonna shoot you. I mean, it's just what it is, you know. Like, people have been shot for way less, you know. So yeah, man, it happens, you know. I heard that they've decided to behave after that though. So yeah, you know, the powers that be will always take violence off the table. They'll always take violence off the table, right? Not because it benefits you to take it off the table, right? So let me say, let me chill out before they shut down my live. Oh, you know what? Let them shut off my live. Yeah, they'll always take violence off the table, right? They'll always take violence off the table. That how could you do this? It's wrong. Like, bro, people are on hospital beds, and you're telling them that they can't get their money that they gave you. Mind you, you're a billionaire. You don't even need them. At this point, you're just like racking up points on a video game, right? You don't need it. You know, it's not gonna hurt you to do the thing I'm paying you for. Like, how do you have a service where it's just accepted by everybody that I may or may not deliver the service that you've been paying for? You know, and some people are going to react how they're going to react to it, right? I think, Second Amendment. Yeah, you're supposed to do that shit. You're supposed to do that shit. It's constitutional right. If I were his lawyer, I'd win the case. If I were his lawyer, I'd win the case. It's a constitutional right. You know what I mean? If you're being oppressed, you have the constitutional right to shoot a motherfucker, dude. It's just what it is. It's in the Constitution. You know what I mean? If I were a lawyer, I'd win the case. It's his right. You know, that kind of thing. You can't just keep doing stuff to people and poking and poking and poking and having them accept and accept it. That's why I stopped voting. I was just like, this is ridiculous. You know, like, it's ridiculous. Losing my voice. You know what I mean? Yeah, let them shut down the fucking, let them shut down the live. You know what I mean? The hell? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You can't keep poking people. You know what I mean? And stealing people's money, making loopholes towards healthcare, making things ridiculously expensive. I remember. Anyways, let me leave that alone. But yeah. No, they need to fix it. All the things. It's his constitutional right to shoot that motherfucker. It's just what it is, right? Let's say it's in the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? If you're oppressing me, I have the constitutional right to fucking shoot you. That's why there's a Second Amendment. People talk about the Second Amendment, I get to collect guns. You think it's just like you think the bill says you think that part of the Constitution says you just collect guns? What do you think the guns are for? What do you think? What did Dr. Dre say? No, not Dr. Dre. What do you think all the guns is for? Oh yeah, Beast Smalls. What do you think all the guns is for? All-purpose war. Got the rock walls by the door. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's his right. What are your dreams? Okay, if I'm a Z, I'm a Z. You sleep too much. It's like your third dream question, I think. What are your thoughts on waking up? All right. What are your thoughts on having a dream of a person who was possessed and turned into a big white yellow python? Interesting. What can this? So I'm not a dream reader. It's not my forte. It's not my specialty. We have a DBA you can talk to if you're on Patreon. So I'm not going to try to interpret what that means. I would say when you have a dream, pay attention to how each of the symbols feel. And I think that to me that tells more than what you're seeing is how it feels. Okay. Ka nwanne mmadụ daa kedu udo nwanne. Oh, where babe? Are you from Owerri? Angel, can you talk about the symbolism of the termite mound? Yes, absolutely. Mountains, trees, places in the sky. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank Game of Life. Thank you very much. So the termite mound. So as the story goes, Allah wanted children. And so she sprouted two termite mounds. Once the two termite mounds sprouted, Igwe from above struck them with lightning, and the sand peeled to reveal two human beings, man and woman. Right? And so the termite mound is the first and original aquala omumu. Aquala omumu. What is the aquala? The aquala omumu is the arashi, or the gateway for manifestation. So that shape, the cosmic power of that pyramid shape, that mound shape, that cone shape is rebirth, reincarnation, as well as manifestation, procreation, bringing something into life, crossing over from intention to reality, and so forth. And so the Akwala Omumu first came to human beings, or we were born from it anyways, by way of the termite mound. And so in a lot of rituals, you'll see that the use of like the sand from termite mounds is necessary for a lot of rituals. When people are building the Akwala Omumu shrine, oftentimes they'll use the soil from a termite mound, and so forth. And then that, okay, so if you understand the concept of fractals, right, which is a shape that repeats itself on different levels. So the example I used in a video before I even knew what the word fractal was the Russian doll. Those Russian dolls were like, you open it and it's the same doll, but it's smaller, and then you open another one, it's the same doll and it's smaller. You open another one, it's the same doll and it's smaller, right? This is how all of creation manifests, as far as Udinani tells it, right? And so that shape, that triangle, that pyramid, that mound shape exists on different scales and levels and sizes. You see it in a woman's breasts, you see it in the shape of a pregnant stomach, you see it in termite mound, ant hill, you see it with mountains, you see it with hills, you see it with all the things that take that particular shape, have a procreative energy and procreative power. And so in ritual, they get used in that particular sense, or they're encountered in that particular sense as their procreative abilities, right? I can tell you now, I know what a cave painting is. I know what a cave painting is, right? A cave painting is a is wishful thinking, right? So what people do, ancient people do, is they go into caves, or they go into these mounds, or let's use caves, and they draw the things that they want to manifest on the wall. They impregnate that mound, the mountain, the hill, whatever it is that's creating the cave. They impregnate it with what they wish to manifest, and then they let it be, and it comes out. People see ancient cave paintings and they say, oh, like they were keeping records of the year. Keeping records for who? You know what I mean? Keeping records for who? They're trying to manifest what they wanted to see. That's why you'll see a lot of fat animals, a lot of really fat animals, a lot of hunting going on, that kind of thing, right? A lot of the mounds, I think if you dig under these mounds and these pyramids that you see all over the world, it's the same thing. So like I know that like St. Louis, I think St. Louis and Mississippi have mounds that the indigenous people here built, right? Then you look at the pyramids of Egypt, the pyramids in what's that place called? The Aztec pyramids. In China, they have their pyramids. In Igbo, our culture, we have the same pyramids. All over the world, you see these mounds and these pyramids and so forth. And the concept is the or momo, the aquala, or momo, literally the earth egg. They call it the earth egg, the procreative earth egg, right? That's what that concept is. And so oftentimes things will be buried inside them, things will be placed on the side of them, or people will use it as means of manifesting. You can also build like anyways, yeah, there's this girl who built, and Omomo shrine and Aquala Omomo. But she did it intuitively. She didn't know that's what she was doing. She's like, I just had this idea that what if there was like a mound on a farm with like an iron rod at the very top, and then when lightning strikes it, it disperses the energy through the thing, and the minerals synthesize in a certain way, and it like replenishes the land and makes it more fertile. I was like, that's literally what our ancestors were doing. You nailed it 100%. So yeah, it's the hill mound anything that shape is think about a pregnant stomach, and then what's inside of it growing. As it grows, it takes that shape and then it releases to the earth. That shape. Pay attention to the shape of things in nature and their natural function, right? The shape of things in nature. Like because of Odinani, I've learned, and this, let me try to explain this because it's not out there. All spirals want to live, and therefore the spiral is necessary for life to happen. Spirals in nature conserve energy or conserve something. They're always saving something. They're always holding on to something, saving energy and so forth, right? Like when you see rams with their curl thing, you'll notice they'll crash into each other and then they'll just sit there and take it in and take it in and take it in. I'm letting you know right now, there's a very high level of communication they're doing with those horns. That the impulse, the impact, they're processing that impact in there because the energy from the impact is saved in the whatchamacallit, in their horns, right? Crack, and then it saves, it stays. Even like those like electricians, ask them, coils, they save energy. That's why your stove is coiled like that, right? The stove coil, that kind of thing. They have coil stoves. Anyways, yeah, so the crack and then it saves it. And I think they're processing, they're probably figuring out the health of the person there. They can probably figure out the life story of this person there. They can probably figure out whether or not he's trying to look for mates, that kind of thing. I'm sure from the impact, I promise you. They'll figure this out one day. Oh, the scientist said blah, blah, but I'm telling you right now, and that's what I know. Because the shape of it preserves something. And then you crack, and then it'll sit there and just kind of let it marinate almost. And then after a while, they do it again, crack, that kind of thing. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, the mound shape, procreative, that spiral shape, conservative, saves. It wants to live. It wants to hold on to. It holds on energy. That's the best way to say it. Holds on energy. How do you say 1, 2, 3, or 4 in Igbo? Utu, abo, ato, ano. Utu, 1, abo, 2, ato, 3, ano, 4. What is the Omenala concept of human? Damn. That's heavy. What is the Omenala concept of human? Where do I begin, right? I will say that, of course, a human is a human, right? You can find pretty universal definitions of what a human is everywhere. But I will say one thing that Omenala says that is unique about what a human is that the form you're in now is not the full you. That's not the full you, right? That your ancestors, and those to come are one thing. You're all one living thing. You're all one single organism. You're all one existence. You're all one aburu, right? Which is, they use it to say family. Sometimes they use it to say clan. Sometimes they use it to say race, but it really just means being, one being, right? And so there's the human being, and there's more to the human being than meets the eye. But ultimately, it ties back to your original ancestors, which is the earth and the sky, right? And then if you want to take it beyond that, that's yeah, you have ancestors beyond that too, and so forth. So very big question. You may need to give me more specifics as far as what you're looking for, but I'll let you know that the definition of a human being is very universal. Human is also not something that a human being can prescribe to another human being, right? It's your chi gave you that. And that a human being is not an isolated space and time do not mean, how do I put it this way? Space and time do not necessarily mean distinction. There. Space and time are different from distinction, right? Space and time are different from distinction. That's all it is. It's crazy that the Inri kingdom was full of people that had Buddha nature, like spiritual signatures, and it's not talked much about. Yeah, maybe, perhaps. What do I do if I thought what? Okay. What do I do if I thought what I didn't mean near my altar before pouring milk? I thought about my friend that she wasn't my friend, but she's my friend and I love. You can think whatever you want. This is what you say, right? It's what you say. And if you say some shit, I mean, it's not that deep. It's okay, you know. But yeah, it's what you say. It's not what you think. It's not about what you think. It's what you say. Okay, that kind of thing. Also, are you a Negro or are you a Caucasoid? Because I don't know about milk, man. I think our ancestors are lactose. Our ancestors are lactose intolerant. So maybe you're a Caucasoid. I don't know. If you're a Caucasoid, let me know. Okay. Question. Know that there's a good and bad balance to everything. What are the good things about witches slash wizards in Igbo culture? What do you call a witch? What do you call a wizard? Right? Some things are just like, I mean, what, how would you define a witch? How would you define a wizard, right? What does that mean, right? A wizard. A wizard just means a wise person, a wizard. That's the same word. It's the same word, right? It's the same word, a wise person, wizard. Witch, there's a debate whether it's wise, witch and wise, or witch and wicked. Or it roots in either wicked, it has the same root of wicked or wise. But wizard is wise, wiser. You think, oh, he's a real math whiz. Well, that kid is a real engineering whiz, right? Man, he that kind of thing, right? It's the same thing. So what do you call a witch and a wizard? I think Nigerians just use witch and wizard to insult people. You know what I mean? It doesn't have a meaning. It's like calling somebody a jackass. Like, okay, like it's just an insult, right? But yeah, everybody. I mean, what do you call a wizard? Is a doctor, like, right? Is a pharmacist a wizard? You know what makes one person a wizard or one person a pharmacist? And I'm talking about like the magical Merlin wizard too. I'm not even talking about wizard, right? If you want to use the most fantastical definition of wizard, how is that different from a pharmacist? How's that different from whatever? Or is it that you got these like because somebody in England said it was okay to pharmacists are cool, now it's cool, right? I don't know. That's a tough question to answer, Imazi. It's a very tough question to answer because I don't even know what the hell you mean by witch and wizard. I don't know what you mean. What's a wizard? Knows. Maybe you can elaborate, right? Okay, so yeah, that's a funny way to say medicine man, medicine woman, right? You know what I mean? It's just like if you see a medicine man or a medicine woman and you want to insult them, you call them a witch, you call them a wizard. If they do it in the way that like black people invented, if they do it in the way that white people invented, it's good. If they do it in the way that black people invented, it's bad, right? And see, that logic is so ridiculous that I have to like plunge into it to have the conversation. That's why it's like, I don't know what you mean. You know what I mean? So yeah, a wizard is just a black nigga trying to heal somebody. That's all it is, bro. It's just calling a doctor the N word. Hey man, I wish I had a friend that was just like me, man. He'd be funny as hell. Yeah, a wizard just calling a doctor and at the N word. A witch is just calling a doctor that's a woman the N word. That's all it is. You're just calling them. You're just insulting them because they're black. I don't know. What effect did the slave trade have on Igbo market governance system? Oh yeah, that's a good question. What effects? What effects? What effects? Damn, that is a good question. Give me a minute to think of an answer. because it would be impossible to say that there wasn't one. And then one of the things that muddies it up is that immediately after slavery, colonialism begins, right? So it's like if there was a change, which one of these events or which one of these eras caused that change would be tough to figure out, right? I think the colonialism question is a little bit easier to answer, but the slave trade one is tougher. Oh, yeah. Oh, huge one, huge one. Okay, so what happened throughout? I have a video called the Osu Explained, right? It's a documentary, and it's really a documentary on like the history of Igbo people, right? But it's actually really a documentary on the history of the world. I'm gonna tell you guys some shit. All right, bear with me. So what happened in that era was that what I saw throughout my research, right? And this was like universal and very consistent, was that in every community, the people whose authority came from like what we would call their spiritual authority, their authority became diminished. And the people whose authority came from their economic power, right? Their wealth, their authority began to increase, right? And what started happening was they used to kind of be like this, and then this started happening because of the slave trade. This started happening because a person can enter human trafficking and then come back with weapons that nobody around them has and items nobody around them has and that kind of thing, right? And so then everybody else has a decision to make. Do I go be like him, or do I just stay like this and not, you know what I mean? And not come up, right? And so you saw these things are happening where people with economic authority started to rise above the people with the spiritual authority. Historically, one of the most like pronounced episodes of this was in the Benin Kingdom. There's this story of this Igbo man named Eze Chima. And it's said that Eze Chima was the founder of several Igbo communities, namely Onitsha is the main one, right? And he came from Benin, but I've figured out that that's not all the whole story. He's from the area of Onitsha, Asaba. He's from there, and then he went to Benin, right, to do business. And in Benin, for somehow, some way, he became very wealthy. I have this story. I have the exact historical documents for this too. He became very wealthy, and several of the Obaz chiefs became wealthy because what would happen in a lot of these cultures in this area was that people who had spiritual authority did not engage in economic activity. And so forth. So like they didn't sell, buy, trade, that kind of thing. And so you had the people who engage in economic activity, the merchant class, all of a sudden become more powerful and richer than the Oba. And what happened in the kingdom of Benin was the Oba said that, okay, nobody's allowed to build a house bigger than me because he got pissed off that everybody's house is bigger than his now, which was a sign of what I'm telling you, right? They're richer than this guy right now at this point. I mean, they're paying taxes and all that stuff, but they got more than him, right? It's like in the US now, where these companies are richer than like the US government, that kind of thing, right? And so anybody whose house was bigger than whatchamacallit had to their roof was too tall, they had to demolish it. And so all the chiefs agreed except one, right? And this one chief refused. And so they ransacked his house, they banished him, they burnt the house down, the Oba. And they said, according to documents, he went 3 days east, which is Onitsha, Asaba, right? He went 3 days east on foot and came back with an army. Again, merchants, but he has an army, right? That's crazy. And attacks. And they said that he sacked 1/3 of Benin before he was repelled, right? So 1/3 of the city was burned down from the attack until he was repelled. And I remember Benin has these massive walls, these massive world record breaking, well, I think they're the longest earthwork project in the world, right? So this was a small microcosm of what ended up happening everywhere, where the person with the economic authority started gaining more authority over. This is actually what happened in Europe. You understand? This is actually what happened in Europe. It's the same thing. Whoever had access to international trade became the whatever. There's this episode in Chinese history of, I think his name is Zhang He, or Z. I always see it as ZHAN, I think G. Zhang He, something like that. He's a great explorer, sailor, that kind of thing. And he had this giant vessel, or this giant's like trade mission that went all the way to like the Swahili coast, so like Kenya and things like that, and was trading. He got giraffes, he got all types of shit. In one trip, he came back. He showed the Emperor of China giraffes. He showed him all this wealth, all this crazy stuff, and he had this huge fleet who had the capacity to reach North America if it wanted to, just from how developed the ship was. And the Emperor of China had him burn all his ships. He said, "Man, fuck this guy." He had him burn every single ship and never don't do that shit again. Don't ever do it on my watch, right? Right? And it's funny because when you learn about it from Westerners, it's always like, oh, why would he do something like that? Why would he do something like that? Because historically, what happens is the people with the economic activity people will eventually become richer than the spiritual authority people, the mandate of heaven people. And when they become rich enough, they will come together and they'll do a coup. And that coup will take over. And they will install a government that is cooperative to their will. And that government is almost always a democracy or a republic, really, a republic or an outright dictatorship, but usually a republic. And the reason it's a republic is because then money has fully taken over, right? You can always bribe these politicians. They'll always need your money to do their campaigns, right? So you're basically get to hire a government, and in a republic, the government has to leave after its term limit, but you still get to be the CEO of Amazon. So if they tell you something, it's like, all right, I'll give you 4 years, you leave, and then the next guy comes, you go, hey, scratch that shit off the books, right? And you're good, right? This happened every single place in the world, and it was starting to happen in Igbo land, mainly because of the slave trade, right? So the people that participated in the slave trade gained this like extreme amount of leverage over everybody else. You understand? Over everybody else. Most famously, Arochukwu, right? Arochukwu people. But even outside of Arochukwu, there are people within certain communities that did that participated. And it was a big problem. Even in my own community, our history, there was this one particular guy who was heavy in the trade. His family was heavy in the trade, so he was already rich. By the time that I'm aware of the story, the slave trade had ended. But he was already this big, rich ass guy with an army, and he started trying to take over the community like by force and that kind of thing. And it was one of the major wars in my community history and that kind of thing. And he was repelled by other people who had participated in the slave trade, and now they were super rich, right? And meanwhile, the people with the spiritual authority, they're not in the mix. There's too much going on. They're not in the mix anymore. So yeah, it's even the history of Rome, all of this thing. If you understand this, you'll kind of understand a lot about world history and why things pan out the way they pan out, right? It's the history of capitalism, right? So that kind of thing. Creative force, and there, well, that was a long ass answer. I know you guys start. I feel like you guys tap out when I get all historical. So the number 10 by 3, but likes are not complete. If I'm drawn to plants, herbs, and want an altar, would it make it yeah, if you have a natural, that's a really good question, Wandering Atticus. If you have a natural connection to plants and herbs, absolutely, why not? Yeah, absolutely. So uh, speaking to Arabinago is a way to speak to just herbs as a whole, medicine as a whole, plants as a whole. So yeah, I wouldn't dedicate the entire altar to Arabinago, but you can have Arabinago on your altar. Now, if you become like an herbalist, you'll have a separate altar, an altar for your gift, your herbalism, and then your altar for you as a person. You'll have two different altars, right? And that separate altar is going to be an Agu altar. If you want to call it an Arabinago altar, same thing, right? Arabinago is just the female head of Agu. Agu has two heads, right? So you'll have an Agu altar, you'll have your regular altar if you become an herbalist, right? But yeah, putting one in your altar before that, yeah, that's dope. Greeting her in the morning, nothing wrong with that. It's good that you know that about yourself. Shows a high level of personal development and spiritual growth. You can just Google Igbo numbers. Shout out to Imazi. Shout out to Imazi. What's the significance of lighting candles? Lighting candles, the presence of fire. It's a good way of having a controlled presence of fire. So fire is eke, light, right? So when a candle is lit, that element is present. The element is present. All of the ancestors that were born on the Eke day are present. All of the Abara connected to the Eke day are present, right? All of that is present. So yeah, there's a lot of significance to lighting a candle. Um, some rituals require candles just because of the energy signature, the spiritual signature of fire, right? And it's a good way of controlling it, right? That kind of thing. Light is life, life is light. Consciousness, candle is consciousness as well. It's better have an actual Igbo person say it and not Google Translate. Leave me alone. Is there an equivalence? Okay, we already did that. I don't. Let me tell you something. I don't think the Orisha have anything to do with no damn chakras either. This is what I mean, right? I don't think the Orisha have any damn thing to do with any damn chakras either. I don't think the Orisha have any damn thing to do with any damn chakras either, right? Nothing. You understand? One thing that happens is people get very excited about African spirituality, and then they want to connect it to all the things that they learned prior, right? Or they want to see the things that they like about the prior things they learned in it so that they're not leaving the stuff that they like behind as they take a closer look into this African thing, right? Dibias and babalawos are notorious for this, right? If you ask them if is there this, is there that, they'll say yes. And most of the time they're right, but I don't think the Orisha are connected to chakras at all, right? Because I know what the Orisha are, right? And so it doesn't make sense, you know. Um, but yeah. That's that. What is the power of the word Ise? Ise. So remember earlier I was talking about the pregnant, the stomach, the pyramid, the mound, all these different things. All of those, that shape, that omomo, that termite mound, that hill, that procreative force, right? That procreative force is omomo, omomo, omomo. And Ise says omomo. Ise and omomo are one and the same. Five is the procreative number in Igbo numerology, right? It's the number of procreation, of birth, of manifestation. So if you say something and you want to send it out into the universe, give birth to it, have it break out of the womb, you say Ise. That's what you're doing when you're breaking Aji. Right? That's why I said four is optimal. Eke Uri Afo Nkwo. These are the four numbers of Eke Nechuku, of the procreative mother, the original mother, right? So you speak onto the Aji. This Aji will do this. This Aji represents power, strength. It represents healing. It represents clarity. It represents wisdom. It represents wholeness, right? It represents answers, truth. You spoke all these things and say it's going to be like this on Eke Day, on Oriya Day, on Afo Day, on Nkwo Day, and then you break it open. It's the same thing as a woman's water breaking. You understand? It's the same thing as a woman's water breaking. And the child comes out. And the process of a woman's water breaking and the child coming out is Ise. That's what that is, right? That's the same thing as in Obichuku. If you've heard my original story, it's not my story, but the Igbo story of creation, Odachi Nebere, right? Where Nechuku opens the door and then there's a big explosion. That's Ise. So everything that Chuku was working on in there, which is now the universe, came out, right? The order of the universe came out. You understand? And so, yeah, Ise is manifestation. It's manifestation. So if you say something, you say Ise, it's like, it shall be, it shall be, it shall be, it shall be, right? Ise is it shall be, it shall manifest, it shall come forth, right? That kind of thing. Please get into the layers of more a bit. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I have a video called "The Layers of More." Seven. I don't know what I titled the videos. The 7 layers of something like that. 7 layers of more explained of spirit, that kind of thing. Your 7 spiritual layers, right? I'm gonna run through them fast. Layer one is like your light. It's your light, but it's a non-sentient light. So it's whatever your spirit gives off. That's what that is one. It's one way. It's your spirit reaching out to the world. So for example, when you like if you borrow your friend's car and you can feel their presence in there, that's that first layer, that light, right? If you feel somebody looking at you, that's that first layer, that their light is on you. When somebody walks in a room, you feel their presence, right? It's that kind of thing, right? When you walk in a room, you know somebody's been living here, somebody's been staying here. That's that first light. It's non-sentient, it's a light. Second one is a shadow. It's the same thing but going back the other way, right? It's the same thing but going back the other way, right? It's the light. That light goes back at you, so it comes as darkness, right? It's you looking at you. Layer three is where your life is, where life living, the concept of life exists, right? On your layer three is your ikenga and your omumu. Your ikenga and your omumu, right? If you're a man, the ikenga is the dominant one, omumu is the dominant one for women, and so forth. In layer three is your kinetic space. It's what gives you that life, this movement I'm doing, right? Is that three, is where life sits. Your layer three also has all of your unborn children in it, right? All of your unborn children are there. Or I'm sorry, no, not all your unborn. Is all your unborn children or your lives? Yeah, your unborn children are all there, right? Layer four is Ako. So there is consciousness. It's completion, but that completion comes with consciousness, right? So one is that light, two is the shadow, three is the kinetic space, and then four is like completion. Four comes to you. I don't know if I said this in the video, but it comes to you from the earth, and that when that earth consciousness hits you, your sentience in the human realm, right? So because of your fourth layer as a human being, you have intellect that makes you complete as a human being. You have the capacity to think and feel and that kind of thing. All of that makes you complete. So layers 1 through 4, that makes you complete, right? As a corporal being, as a physical being. The next layer is that 5 space. It's a repetition of the one. It's that light that pans out from you, but it's conscious. It's conscious. It's a sentient light. So it carries your intentions, your will, your thoughts into time and space, right? It's conscious. It's that light. It's more than just a feeling now. It's now aware. It's aware. Level 2 is the shadow that looks back at you, or 6 is the shadow, and it's also aware, right? It's also aware, right? This is your conscious shadow. Then 6 and 7 is your. It's like how do I explain this? Think of it like a nest. Think of it like a nest, right? Think of it like a nest. It's like a nest. Uh, let's call it your crown chakra, right? No, let me not call it like that. But it's a nest, and on that nest, divine sentience can land on that nest. The way 4 kind of is the same thing, right? When that divine sentience lands, that divine sentience is like an 8th layer. The way the 4 is the earth. I'm saying divine, but they're both divine. When sky consciousness, this is a big part of my next video, by the way. This is a big part of the next video, by the way, right? So sentience from sky land is 8, sentience from earth is 4, and then the 7 space is what allows you to like hold it, if that makes sense, is what gives you the power to hold it. The 7 space is also your spiritual power, right? Your spiritual kinetic, you understand, right? That kind of thing. Your the space 3 is your earthly power, right? Which I mean, one and the same. So those are the layers. Those are the 7 layers. Some say 8, 7, 8, that kind of thing. But I figured out what the 9th is, what the 10th, what the 11th, what the 12th, what the 13th, what the 14th, what the 15th, and what the 16th are. I figured that shit out. Help in part thanks to one of the members of the village, which are our Patreon community, and just the studying Alpha. I had Abia, and then Chiku Okike Abiyama, who revealed it to me through a ray of Abia. It just clicked. I was like, in the middle of recording, I was like, oh shit. And I started working on the next video. So I'm doing 2 videos right now. I did one. Someone said flutes, singing. Well, I'm way behind, so I'm still on the singing. Nia, hey, long time, one day, long time. Where have you been? I'm doing well, oh, don't ignore my voice. I've been talking too much this week. Okay, I think nobody asked. Okay, what does Igbo traditional teachings, medicine, healthcare say about the liver or gallbladder? I don't know. Well, I don't know like as far as other people know Denani goes, but I know what just from what I understand, that there's a link between the liver and the sands of the earth, particularly like sand at the edge of a river, right? This may not make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but I was taking a walk and it kind of hit me. That's what the liver is. So when it rains, the water hits the soil, and the water moves through the soil and enters a river, right? It moves through the soil and enters a river. So the soil serves as like a filtering agent, right? It kind of filters what gets to enter the river and so forth. So as Denani goes, we understand that everything is a fractal of something. It has a fractal representation everywhere else. So that function in my body is done by my liver, which is done by soil of the earth. Now, what's the relevance? I think a lot can be learned about the liver by studying the process of how soil does that particular thing. We can probably figure out that. We'll probably see, if we look further into it, what's good for that filtration process of soil is good for the liver and vice versa. I know that tree roots are good for holding together that soil so that in the process of filtering, it doesn't lose its composure in a lot of soil types. I'm willing to think that a lot of liver medicine can probably be found in roots. So that's kind of how I see it with my own eye, based on Odinani and that kind of thing. But I'm not a doctor. Getting one name. How would you go about warding off evil spirits, protecting themselves, leaving spirits attack? All right, so Chukwudi, okay, Chukwu. And we're in Yana awful. There's something that we call awful, right? There's something that we call awful, OFO. You understand? Every single person is born with an awful. Every single person is born with an awful. Think of your awful as a house. So long as you stay inside the house, the rain outside can't hit you. So long as you stay inside the house, the rain outside can't hit you. It is when you step outside the house that the rain hits you. Igbo say that water swallows those whose feet it touches first. You understand? Water swallows those whose feet it touches first. What is the awful? Your awful is your mandate. It is the principles that you are to live by as a human being, based on the agreement your chi made with the earth, right? These are the principles you agree on. So long as you are within those principles, there's no such a thing as spiritual attack. Denani people, we're not afraid. Like, I've never met an Denani person that's afraid of spiritual attack. It's always some like church mother, right? So long as you're within your awful, there's nothing can happen to you, right? There's an Igbo that says that when a group of people are plotting against you, your chi is in attendance. Okay? When a group of people are plotting against you, your chi is in attendance. What does that mean? If you are within your awful, if you're inside of your house, if you are within your principles, if you've held true to your awful, your chi will not allow the thing to happen. If you are outside of the house, Your chi will say, hey, he's right there. There's that motherfucker right there, right? So keep your hands clean. That's why you notice it in the other night. There's a big emphasis on clean hands. There's this big emphasis on going to your altar and saying, my hands are clean. There's this big emphasis of going to the sun, the rising sun, Igwe, and presenting your hands. You know, I think they do when rich people drive by. They go, Igwe, Igwe, I hail you, I hail you. That's for Modinani, but we used to do that to the sun. We used to do that to the sun. Now they do it to people with like nice cars. So yeah, your hands are clean. You're showing that your hands are clean, right? What does clean hands mean? You're not committing arrow. You haven't committed arrow, and you're not plotting evil against somebody. You're not that kind of thing, right? So what does dipping your feet in the water mean first? In order for spiritual attack to get you, you have to be you have to be you have to be out of alignment. And I don't mean out of alignment in like a mysterious way. Like you have to be fucked up. Like you have to be a bad person. You understand, right? In order for evil to work on you, you have to be kind of evil, right? That kind of thing. You understand? So yeah. I'll just leave it at that, right? I think the Indians call it karma. You can look at it that way, dharma. Right? So keep your hands clean. Follow your awful. There's nothing. There's nothing like spiritual attack. We're not. That's nothing. My DBS says the chant during egg ritual is cool. I'm building a chi altar. That's dope. That's awesome. How does one go about warding off? I already read that, I think. What can one do or say? Yeah, so do or say, just go to your altar and proclaim your innocence. Proclaim your innocence, right? Continuously proclaim your innocence. I have not done this. I have not done that. I have not done this. I have not wished bad against somebody. I have not stolen what doesn't belong to me. I have not sent spiritual attack at somebody, so on and so forth, right? If you're within your, but if you've done that shit, then you're open for it. Our people say that in order to hold a man to the ground, you too must stay still. Does that make sense? Like, let's say you want to pin somebody to the ground and make sure they can't move. In order for that to work, I have to also hold them to the ground. I also have to be still. You understand? That's how it works. You've dipped your foot in the water, now you're drowning in it. That kind of thing. So you're fine. Just don't be a motherfucker. You'll be fine. Historical Nani inspired manga based in Igbo land and cross server state would be amazing. Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be super dope. Please go for it. Go for it. We need a numerology video now. Hey, all smiles being there. Well, how you doing? Get it. Why do you think that ancient traditions like Egypt and Haggis burn frankincense? Okay, so it goes back to the very beginning of this live. Hold on. Yeah. The very beginning of the live, somebody asked, what are like the sacred plants or sacred trees, right? And I told them that it's not necessarily like which ones are medicinal. It's like, what is the medicine of this plant? Some herbs have a cleaning capacity, right? That they have a cleaning nature. Odds are you use them as soap. You can use them as soap and they'll work just fine. But if you burn it, you can also clean the place spiritually by using its smoke. So that particular plant, frankincense, has that property and it worked, and that's why people continue to use it. So that's one. We have some in our own culture too, but off the top of my head, I don't remember which plants they use for the incense. I can't say that word without sounding crazy. Why do you think a lot of ancient traditions, like, okay, you already said that. It's my understanding, the dream sounds like, okay. Something held for review, let me see. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Even the tip of our penis, the procreation. Yeah, exactly. The tip of the penis is the same mound shape. It's the same thing. Same procreative shape. You got it. Facts. An egg is two. There's two of them. An egg is two mounds. It's not a circle. It's two mounds. It's two of those circles together. You explain it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Fingerprints are spiral. Yeah. So, like I was saying earlier, different shapes in nature repeat themselves based on their function, and the function of the spiral is to keep something together, not alive, to keep an energy in one place alive, right? To keep something alive. That's why life always wants to preserve itself. And in Sibiri, the symbol for Eke, like creation, like you, that kind of, and Akaraka, like your destiny, is a spiral. It's a spiral, right? Where can I find a DBO? We have a DBO on our Patreon, patreon.com/the medicine show. Otherwise, if you're at home, I'm sure you have one in your town. I was like, milk? Yeah. Yeah, chill out with that milk. Right? Ancestors like, oh shit. How do you, my voice is doing whatever it wants right now, y'all. So, how did ancestors view what it means to be human? What qualifies to be a human? Human is a human now. Human is not something you qualify for. Human is not something you qualify for. Human is something you are. Everything that's inclusive or exclusive of that concept. Yeah, so human is something you are. It's not something you qualify for. Something that your chi gives you. Nobody can take that away from you, and so forth. It's a very big question. It's a huge question, right? It's a huge question. But there is also the concept of I am because we are, right? I am because we are, or how are they, Ubuntu, or how they say that? It's very universal in a lot of African cultures, right? So the your humanity is something you show through your community, if that makes sense, right? Your humanity, everybody's a human, but your humanity is shown through your community, right? So there's an ilu that says, a life well lived is when your children and their children, and I can't translate this in English, but I'll just say, na bagi buru buru, na bagi buru buru. Buru buru is like, it's hard to explain, it's like commotion, but ibamado buru buru is like you swarm them. It's like you swarm them, you surround them. It's almost like, you know, when like a celebrity comes out and be, hey, they all surround them, taking the pictures and stuff. That's buru buru. So a life well lived is when your children and their descendants do that to you. That's what the Ilu says. We have this tradition back home called Ara Nomo, which means breast and children, where you go to like the matriarch of your family and everybody just kind of visits her and like, you know, gives her praises and that kind of thing. And she tells stories, and it's kind of just like you know, them, yeah, you surround your matriarch and have a party in her honor, and that's the same thing. Nabaha Buru Buru, that's the same thing, right? And so forth. But all of that is to say that the measure of someone's humanity, right, the extent by which your humanity was enjoyed and shown within your lifetime will reflect in how your community reacts to you and so forth, right? Yeah, and that's that. But the definitions of humanity are pretty fairly universal. It gets kind of weird when you get to the caucasoids, so leave them alone. The but yeah, I think I said enough. I'll do them. Well, witch don't mean bad, of course. They can be healer. Yeah, it's just like a witch is someone who knows how to do science, but you're trying to insult that person, so you call them a witch. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. You know, somebody makes something that heals ulcers through witchcraft. And someone makes someone who heals ulcers, but they wear a white jacket. What's the difference? You know. It's just, do I want to insult you or do I want to not insult you? That's all it is. Oh, denied by adapting a person. Okay, cool. You got it. Let's see. I saw a tweet. Oh boy, I see a tweet saying that priestly Igbo doctors were carrying out brain surgeries in pre-colonial times. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, absolute fact. There's a video. I hope I downloaded it because I'm sure they'll delete it sometime. But there's a video you can find. It's like a type in like Uganda brain surgery. Uganda brain surgery, right? And you'll see like the traditional way that they used to do it, the old way they used to do it, and so forth. They can cut your brain open and figure out what the issue is, snip it, put your brain back together, and then you'll go about your day and have a normal ass life. And there was like 5 or 6 people that they had done it for in that community, and they were like being interviewed and things like that. This video is probably from like the 60s based on how grainy it was. But yeah, traditionally, yeah, brain surgery, surgery on all the organs, that kind of thing, very normal all throughout it. Absolutely very normal throughout all of Africa, right? All throughout all of Africa. It was very normal, very normal. Certain communities were specialists for surgery. So like, I think I mentioned Oka earlier. Oka was, they specialized in it. Uturu specialized in it. Leja Opi specialized in it. A lot of Aro communities specialized in it. Yeah, it was normal. Surgery was a very normal part of African life back in the day. Africa is where things like vaccination, inoculation comes from, germ theory, a lot of surgeries, heart surgeries, all of that shit was normal. It was normal. You know what I mean? It was doable, right? And so forth. So, and again, anyways, and then I'll say that. I think I said enough. All of that. There's many communities. In fact, the community of Auca had a civil war because of a botched surgery. The history of the Auca Civil War. So there's the main Auca communities, and then there's this one community which at the time was not considered Auca, but they saw themselves as Auca. So they were calling it, but they were saying that they were going around calling themselves Auca because Auca people were very well known for like metal smithing and surgery. And so they were in an Ijaw community somewhere in like what is now Bielsa, and there was the people from the original Auca communities and a person from the not original Auca community. And this very powerful woman in that community went to the unoriginal Auca community to do surgery, guy, and he botched it and she died. And so they kicked out all Igbo people from that area. Any Igbo person has to get the fuck out. And so the Auca people from that saw themselves as the originals were really angry that this person had messed up their, what do they call it, Uzoma, like their good road, their link to this particular, their business link had messed up their, and then they were also tired of these people claiming Auca. And then it kind of escalated, one thing, that kind of thing. It turned to a big ass civil war. Ninjas got involved. They had they had a bunch of ninjas. It was crazy. So I'm looking forward to making a video on that one day. It should be coming in a reasonable amount of time. So I didn't mind. Can anyone else hear? I can hear him. Yes, I can hear him fix. Oh, did I cut out? Is Amadioha Jesus? No. Ancestral DNA, I match with 9 or 10 Igbo. Most don't seem very interested in connecting. Airy Kingdom seems welcoming, but Menala, does the custom still see us as family? Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're family. So people that take ancestry tests and then don't want to connect to people are unusual. Like, I don't get that.
Hi, Daddy.
Mama, did you go out?
Where's Daddy?
Yeah, so of course,
No,
Airy Kingdom's okay, but I wouldn't go there. Yeah, I'd just leave that alone. Figure out what town they're from. If you want to message me or email me their names, I can find what town they're from. And if we can identify what town they're from, then that's where you're from too. And when you go there, you can go to whoever the royal family is in that place, and they'll integrate you and make everything flow. But yeah, yeah, you're absolutely family. Yeah, there's no that's not even like a that's not for me to say. It's in your bones, right? It's not that's who you are, right? So yeah, go to the community unless they're from Erie Kingdom, then yeah, have a blast. But um I would try to figure out what town those relatives are from and then move from there. So it's unfortunate they don't want to communicate though. That's kind of annoying. But yeah, you're still family, of course. Ancestral reading showed me connection to okay. Oh, okay. Reading showed me connection to a Okonkwo family from Oba. Great, perfect. And best luck with the Eke Day, then the Onkwo. Do you know? Yeah, Diana, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, they will. Yeah. This whole not accepting people is not an African thing. It's a very Western concept. So yeah, of course they will. Of course they will. Just go home. Go home. Oba, I have let me make sure. No, that's Oba, not Obosi. Sorry. So anyways, Oba, yeah. Yeah, go home. You'll be fine. Go home, you'll be fine. And you'll have a blast. Go to Oba. Don't go if you're connected to Oba, go to Oba. Don't go to Ari. We'll just sit there and start telling you that you're a Jew. See if you'll connect to. Okay. I'm born and raised in the US, but I trace my paternal lineage to Oguta Aro. Hey, okay. Born and raised in the US. I traced my paternal to Igbos. Okay, all right. Better. I get it. I get it. Um, I saw your name, the one area. I'm like, wait, what? And so change my parent is Igbo, especially in Imo State, Oguta. Yeah, absolutely. So go to the royal family, the Oguta royal family, and tell them, hey, this is who I am, or the specifically the Aro Ebu, which sounds like an Aro town, Aro Chuku town. Sounds like a not Aro Chuku, Aro people town. So you might be Aro, right? So go to them and say, hey, this is who I am. I'm Aro. Then they'll integrate you. They'll do the right steps. You understand? The yeah, then you can join that band and learn in Sibidi and come share with us, right? Um, any update on the material used for no thick and thick and well, no, no, not at the moment. So, but we're working on something. We're working on something. I we're working on something. I have a big announcement coming pretty soon, and you'll know it when it comes. Well, yeah, because most of the spiritual stuff can be traced one another. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, deserve rebuilding sacred shrines. Yeah, absolutely. Please do. Please do. Igbo DNA matches are mostly from Imo and Anambra. Cool, cool, cool. I did find some Edo, Igala, Idoma, Cross River, and Benue. That's all like they all interacted. So yeah, they all interacted with each other, right? Some would say that is all Biafra, right? They all interacted. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Welcome home. Welcome home. You're such an engaging speaker. Thank you. Sometimes I think that I'm putting people to sleep. So I appreciate you saying that, Phoenix. I have had some distant Igbo cousins reach out to my husband, which I thought was cool on my aid. Not so much. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just who, I mean, people are people. Some people will be responsive, some people won't. Oh, okay, but okay, cool. All right, Nia. Well, we are praying for you 100%, and as far as everything with the family, Unda. But I'm really happy seeing your name here. I haven't seen it in a while, so that was nice. All of our aspects and we got a strong ass community, guys. I really appreciate you guys. Seriously, like we have a super strong community. This is fucking cool. Like sometimes I'll just see a name from like 4 years ago or 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and I was like, oh damn, we just go right back where we left off and that kind of thing. So that's dope. Like I really mean the hell out of this, and I mean it more than I have the words available at the moment to express. So this is dope. Uda. The village is strong, y'all. The village is strong. Totally different person. Black magic exists? No, I think. Okay, so yeah, you can say black magic exists. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can do that shit. There's you can use the processes of the universe to do negative things. So if you want to call that black magic, then yes, or things that would be perceived as negative. You can use the processes of the universe. You can use the processes of the spirit. You can use the processes of nature to do negative things, right? So, but sometimes with terminologies, what do we mean by black magic, right? Is a gun black magic? You understand? I don't know. The gunpowder in Igbo is nsiebwe, nsiebwe. The medicine of a gun, the juju of a gun. So is there an Igbo process for fasting? Diabetes cure? Oh damn. Oh, I can look into like diabetes and things like that. But I don't know one off the top of my head. Fasting is a very normal part of like Odinani and things like that, just depending on what you're trying to do. Fasting allows a person to return to their original voice, which is their chi, right? To original voice, their original nature. So it kind of clean. It's a spiritual cleansing. It's a cleaning of more and the cleaning of your ete, connection to your source, right? So fasting is very normal. I know that like a lot of people will fast and they'll only eat cola and drink water. So there's different ways to go about it. So I don't mind. No, I've never covered it before, so especially the diabetes. So yeah, I'm glad you asked. So our chi creates us, or did Chuku create us? I don't think I understand this concept. Your chi and Chuku are not separate. Does that make sense? Your chi or Chuku are not separate. Your chi is a piece of Chuku. Your chi is a piece. The term Chuku just means the chi of the whole universe. So you are part of the universe. That's your chi as well, right? You're part of the universe. Think of it like all the cells in your body, all the cells in your body, right? One of those cells is you and your chi. The nucleus is your chi, right? But all together, it's one organism called Derek Duro Forma. Derek Duro Forma. I can't even say my own name. The role of righteous vengeance. Hey! Osule. Yeah, but Omalecha, your chi is an expression of Chukwu. You understand? It's all one and the same. It's all one and the same. Your chi is the piece of Chukwu that is personal to you, that belongs to you, that is yours, that is expressing itself through you, right? What is the role of righteous vengeance? Is there such a thing? Of course, there's such a thing, right? Of course, there's such a thing. Yeah. The way Odinani works is what are you trying to do, right? What is it that the intention comes first? What are you trying to do? Okay, what do you need to do that? A lot of that is going to be just your common sense, regular stuff. And then, of course, you put in the spiritual considerations. And that's really what it is. So if your intention is to get vengeance, well, there's a science to that, right? So you take the science of everything I taught as far as Odinani, or everything you've learned as far as Odinani, you apply it to that. Maybe vengeance is not the answer according to what you know as far as Odinani goes. Those types of things, right? Good night. Hey, good night, Brandon. Take care. Oh, I'm all smiles, beast. I revealed your secret alias. My bad, man. Exactly. Everybody's human, but not everybody should. I guess it's nice. I think Amadio How would be more like Yahweh, not Jesus. Maria, you're very good answer. Very good answer. I think Amadio How will be more like Yahweh, not Jesus. Very, very good. If you want to make cross comparisons, wonderful, wonderful answer. Good. My family, if we have to, Jesus will probably be closer to Anyanwu. Jesus will probably be closer to Anyanwu if we have to make comparisons. But Jesus is a different character in a different book. My family and I really enjoy watching your channel. Oh, thank the hemorrhoid nibbler. Hey, thank you for the support. How's the family? Do evil ancestors feel about cheaters? some of the ancestors were cheaters, yeah. Some of the people you're calling grandfather weren't your grandfather. So- your ancestors are not different from people. So some of them cheated, some of them didn't. Some of them got cheated on. So it's just the same shit, you know. In my community, it's a spiritual abomination to get cheated on by your wife and be aware of it and cool with it. So from as a person from Umukwe, I don't, well, just naturally that shit's crazy to me. But on top of that, I'm also spiritually not able to mess with that. But yeah, some of your ancestors cheated. It's just what it is. It's just your ancestors are people. They're family, right? It's your family. You know, some of us will be ancestors one day. So what do we think about cheating? Shit, some of us have done it, some of us haven't. Does Igbo women have certain rituals or routines for their menstruation? Yeah, so during menstruation, traditionally what would happen with like I think unmarried women is like they would like there's a certain place they would go and just hang out there, and it was just a house for that. So it'd be all the girls that were on their cycle, it'd be like a break time for them. They didn't have to do any like their chores or community duties or anything like that, and then they come back when it's over. But and then like when you see your first cycle, they do like your coming out ceremony where your mother you'll get dressed up in your nice get up, right? Usually topless, and like literally always topless, not even usually, always topless. And then your mother will like parade you through the market, right? Through the market, and you'll hand gifts, eggs to people, right? But that kind of thing you'll hand get as you walk by, and and everybody's cheering for you and that kind of thing. And then you go and celebrate with all the girls who have had their cycle that are in your age group. So in our culture, we have age grades where people born within a certain period of time are in the same age grade and they kind of move through life together. So like once you see your cycle, you parade, you do your parade through the market, and then you go and have like a dinner or hang out with your age grade, the girls in your age grade that have had this, that have also seen their cycle, right? um and yeah, so there's that, and then there's, as it comes, you kind of use that as a time of rest, you chill out. Menstrual blood has the capacity to turn off, like to reset spirit more, right? So anybody who has something going on, menstrual blood turns it off. If somebody buries something in your backyard, menstrual blood turns it off. I'm more than willing to based on that, I know that there's medicinal properties to menstrual blood that we haven't or detoxing properties to menstrual blood that I don't know if this has been explored by like Western science or whatever, but it's not like people are like drinking menstrual blood and shit at home, but like we just know it turns things off, it shuts things off, right? And so like men, you keep a distance from it. If a woman's on her cycle, you keep a distance from her. You don't eat food cooked by a woman on her cycle, which is funny how much that has been preserved in Caribbean culture. It's just funny how much that has been preserved in Caribbean culture, but you don't eat food cooked by a woman on her cycle. Women don't cook on their cycle, that kind of thing. So just a whole lot that goes with that. But it's one of the more interesting points is that it gets used. You can use it to turn off poison. That's what I meant by detox, like anti-poison, anti whatchamacallit, all that stuff. It's all there. So curl up in a ball sometimes when I listen, but it's not for a negative reason. Okay. Hey, I'm not judging Phoenix. It's all good. Detoxes, cleanses. Oh, okay. Is there a detoxes cleanses that would be done to keep a person toxin free? Yes, but Nia, nothing is coming to mind right now. Um, yes, but nothing is coming to mind right now. But I do know alligator pepper and bitter cola are both. Uh, I think no. Let me take that back. Take that back. Take that back. Dial back. No, let me just say I don't know right now. I don't want to give you the wrong answer, so I don't mind. But yeah. There, it exists and gets done. But I just what's that? Aboniki, aboniki. That abo, abo, right? There's this medicine they make where, anyways, you'll see it has a bunch of like roots inside of it. You drink it, whatever the hell you're trying to flush out, boom, gone. You understand? Aboniki. You drink it, and whatever the hell it is, just boom, gone. That kind of thing. So, it's the universal medicine of Nigeria right now. So that's a good one, but that's like strong. Usually people use it if they have like they're sick. I need it. Has anyone ever asked the Christians why Holy Ghost fire? Why not Holy Ghost? Do you mean it turns off? My Davia told me not to go to my altar when I'm bleeding. Yeah, and I can't do spiritual work when I'm bleeding. Yeah, exactly. On my yeah, exactly. So if you're on your cycle, just you don't need to do anything spiritual work, physical work, nothing. Just leave it alone, right? Of course, in the current system we're in, we have to, if the boss says move, you got to move. So do keep things at a minimum, but that's your time of rest, right? That's your time, and so forth. And it also turns out like a lot of your ancestors are gonna say, whoa, chill out, lady. A lot of your ancestors ain't trying to see all that, right? And so it's not something you take to your altar. Just be ride it out, right? Ride it out. Yeah, a lot of traditions they can't approach altars in their cycles. Absolutely, I've heard ladies on their cycle should clean with alligator pepper or lemon before going to their altar. They just shouldn't go. They just shouldn't go. Right? They just shouldn't go. I don't know. Can I cook for myself on my cycle? I can't start. Yeah. You can. Yeah, you can. You can. Yeah. I don't mind. Hey, Kaba.
Daddy, do you want to like show me a little?
Yeah. Let me show off the live. Okay. I don't mind. Yeah. Okay. By Adibia, I work with, and his wife, who's a water priestess. They've helped me a lot. That's dope. That's dope. Yeah. So I just wouldn't do it at all. But the lemon thing, and that's all new to me. I've never heard that before. So, guys, I think this is it. I'm gonna hop. I'm really surprised I was able to do this for this long. I just realized that I need to. I think I'm exhausted. I think I'm having exhaustion, and so I need to just not be. Hey, those of you who have messaged me this week and things like that, this has been a very chaotic week for me, very busy, and yeah, so I haven't been as responsive because that's not normal. Don't think that's how it's gonna be. Just let me have my week. Oh, I'm going to spend tomorrow. It's tomorrow Eke Day. I can't wait for. I skipped Eke Day twice, which I'm not doing again. All Gucci. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll check my calendar to see if today's Eke. Yes, my eyes are already closed. So thank you for your wisdom and time, Dan. I appreciate you. Hey guys, make it over to Patreon. Join the community. Patreon.com/the medicine show. If you guys like this, what we're having here, we have a group study that's this times 10. It's all of us sharing, people get to talk, that kind of thing. You get to see the community and all of the wisdom we have to share together. Of course, we have my Odinani library and the traditional calendar. We actually had a new moon last year. Not last year, last week. I think it was actually last Saturday or last Sunday, you know, that kind of thing. So that being said, guys, you guys are amazing. You guys are great. It was nice seeing familiar faces as always. And then yeah, the next video, the next two videos I'm about to drop, or I got some revelations on those ones. But that being said, uno gadi, uno geto, gobble out no tear, I got no wa, I do it to our neck, no rear, not for, not He said, take care, guys.